I want to go back to the financial domination thing.
Mm-hmm.
You said you have had clients in the past give you all their money. Like, are we talking thousands, six figures? What are we talking there?
Like, you mean the most at once, or
Yeah,
like
probably. Just say the most at once. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the most at once probably wasn't that much, because it was someone that definitely had like a pretty normal job.
Right.
I think it was like around 10K.
And then over time, somebody's beating 10K.
Yeah, way more than 10K.
Wow. And it's just giving it away is the satisfaction that they're looking for.
There is like a trade-off, like me having control of them, or me interacting with them, or humiliating them.
Humiliating. So what are some of the things that you would do to humiliate these people?
Like degrade them, be like, oh, you're a loser, or like, you're so stupid for doing this, or like, look at what you're doing right now. My favorite form of humiliation for them is just talking about exactly what they're doing and being like, this is so pathetic. Like, I can't believe you're doing this right now. Like, what would other people think?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crime and Entertainment. We have for today a very special guest. Please welcome Valentina Fox. How are you, Valentina?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was listening to a few of your interviews today, and you've got some interesting stuff that you're into. And I think our listeners will find it very interesting as well. I guess we'll first start off, kind of tell us a little bit, give us like a primer. Who is Valentina Fox and just what it is that you do? And then we'll kind of start from the beginning and work our way forward.
So I am a female dominatrix, mostly financial domination and femdom content. So I make clips, I interact with subs online. I'm mostly online, but I do have a couple of subs in person as well.
Okay. Now, so financial domination, what is that for people that aren't up to snuff on these terms?
It can look like a lot of different things, like in practice, but it just means like the fetish of having someone control your finances. So it can mean like financial ruin, like the idea of giving someone all your money and going bankrupt for them. Or it can be like controlling, like setting a budget for them and like controlling where their paycheck is going and how much they can spend on certain things.
So have you ever had anybody give you all their money?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to unpack that just for a little bit. What is the satisfaction point that they get out of that?
Like the giving up of control. For a lot of my subs are into humiliation. Not all of them though. Some of them just kind of, yeah, a lot of it is just about like letting go mentally, like giving up control. Gooning is really popular. So gooning is like edging, but like over a long period of time, and like getting.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that because that was an interesting thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Do you find that the people that want to be humiliated, are they primarily people in positions of power? Like, you know, I'd say CEOs, bosses, executives, things like that, or is it more your common everyday person?
It's kind of honestly a mix of both. My strap just popped off.
Oh boy. We can get a strike here on YouTube. Wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah. It's kind of a mix of both. Like, I think some people think that it would be that. It's kind of a mix of like normal people with like really normal jobs, CEOs, and then also like losers in their mom's basement, or like what some people think they would all be.
Yeah. Okay. Because I've noticed with some people that I've talked to throughout the years that do variations of this type of work. Like it's the ones that are usually in control all day long, like
Yeah.
top tier bosses that are barking orders. You do this, you do that, you do this. Like they have the pressure of being that top guy. Then when it's behind closed doors, they want the exact opposite. They want to be dominated. They want to be humiliated. And that's where they kind of balance out their, I guess, life, if you will.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix because yeah, I definitely have a lot that are in charge or who like are in charge of like their family or just like have different a lot of different responsibilities and
Mm.
kind of like just giving up control. But yeah, then there's others who like maybe like are like a 35-year-old virgin or like and just like kind of wants to interact with women and like have like a woman like interested in them and like to feel like a woman wants to control them. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people are into it for a lot of different reasons.
Now, the gooning that you talked about, tell her I had never actually heard of that. I've heard of like what it kind of consists of, but I guess the specifics of, longer periods of time, I guess that's where that name gooning comes in, or milking or edging or things like that. Um, what is that? And what is the payoff to gooning?
What do you mean the payoff? Like
Like,
for me?
do you, well, no, not for you, for the, like, I remember one of the interviews I listened to, you said you had a guy that basically done it for almost 30 hours.
Mhm.
And do you never like finish the job?
Yeah, some of them will do like ruined orgasms. Or sometimes like subs will even take like Viagra or something and like continue after an orgasm, but
Okay.
mostly just like no release.
So what is the benefit of that for the guy? Like, I mean,
So that's like the whole thing with gooning. It's like kind of puts them into like a trance kind of meditative state after like hours and hours of doing that. Yeah, it's just like a really intense experience for them. And then if they do get to release at the end of it, it's like super intense.
so, and is that called edging, where you just do it like once or twice, or what's the difference?
Yeah, edging is like just like, yeah, getting yourself to the edge of orgasm and then like not. And I think a lot of people are into that, but gooning is like taking that to the extreme.
Okay. So is that like something scientific that if you do that for a man anyway, I don't know about for a woman, I'll get into that too, but for a man, like if you get to that point and then stop and you do that repetitively, when you finally do get to there and you do reach climax, it's just like something out of this world. Cause I've heard that, but I've never experienced
Definitely. I don't know the science behind it, but I've seen it. I've seen it in action a lot.
I mean, I feel like every guy has probably done that, not knowing maybe what he was doing, but like trying to last longer. Like if he gets to that point, be like, all right, we'll
And it's
change it up
more
or
intense. Yeah.
whatever else. Yeah, so he can go a little longer. I don't know if they actually knew that they were, doing what was considered edging, but I feel like that's probably a commonality. Um,
Mhm.
what is like a common number of times that people would put off? Like, is there like a set number you want to hit, like 3 times, 5 times, or is it just really depends on the guy?
Yeah, it just depends. I like tell my subs to like aim for more like than the last time when they're doing
Uh,
it. But a lot of times too, it's just kind of for like the amount of time. Like my videos are very like mind fucky, like gooning, like the idea of kind of like brainwashing. So I really like them to just watch it over and over and over again.
so what are they being brainwashed to?
um to keep gooning, how good it feels to serve and be used, or yeah, just like different it depends on the video, like different fetishes. I do a lot of
You have
different.
you have kind of specific setup for these people, like rooms? Do you have a certain spots you want them to go to do this?
Yes, I like them to go in their closet or in like the smallest room. So there's like going off from gooning, a lot of people um have like a goon cave. So they build like a room dedicated to gooning and they have like a bunch of screens in there, maybe like posters up. And they'll just like watch porn on like all of these different screens, or like videos like mine, or like a mix of both.
That was not on the blueprints when I got this house built.
The goon cave wasn't on there. Yeah. It
So
just
is it
a lot more
smaller the better?
like really overstimulating.
Okay, so the smaller the room, the better?
Yeah, I just think it's more intense when it's a smaller room and like a lot of screens.
I can't see myself staying in a closet for 30 hours. That's long. I'm like, I need to stand up or something. Like,
yeah, I think a lot of people say that they can't before they try it. So
Jesus Christ. And you've got like, they actually have like cameras or not cameras, but computers and phones and laptops. You want like a bunch of different screens set up while they're doing this.
Yeah, I have a few that I've retweeted like on my Twitter of people that like post their goon caves and have my videos in them. Let me see if I can. And I've posted a couple of them, but one of my subs has like, oh, like.
You just love stroking to me. You just love going down and spending hours.
All right. So we may have to block a portion of that out.
Sorry.
Let me do a timestamp here. Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. As long as we don't show it, we can figure out something to put over that. The imagination can do the work here, folks.
Yeah.
So when you when they do that, is this a repetitive thing where they do this like what, once a week? How often do they do this?
Yeah, some of them do it like every night after work. Some of them like on the weekends. Some of them like once a month. It really varies.
People that are single, are they in relationships, or mixture of both?
Definitely a mixture of both. I mean, for someone to be really into gooning, they're probably single, because it's kind of hard to be that into it if you like live with a partner.
Yeah, I can see that, unless they just have a very, very understanding and open, clear relationship.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the financial domination thing. You said you have had clients in the past give you all their money. Like, are we talking thousands, six figures? What are we talking here?
Yeah. Like, you mean the most at once, or like
probably just say the most at once.
Yeah. I feel like the most at once probably wasn't that much, because it was someone that definitely had like a pretty normal job.
Right.
I think it was like around 10K. But yeah.
And then over time, somebody's beating 10K.
Yeah, way more than 10K.
Wow. And it's just giving it away is the satisfaction that they're looking for.
Giving it away, but like there is like a trade-off, like me having control of them, or me interacting with them, or humiliating them, or like it's not just, they wouldn't just give it away to anyone.
Humiliating. So what is some of the things that you would do to humiliate these people?
Like degrade them, be like, oh, you're a loser, or like, you're so stupid for doing this, or like, look at what you're doing right now. My favorite form of humiliation for them is just talking about exactly what they're doing and being like, this is so pathetic. Like, I can't believe you're doing this right now. Like, what would other people think? Like, yeah.
Tell them the truth.
More specific things too. Yeah. Like, it can be like, some people are really into like SPH. I don't think I can say that one on YouTube, but
you said something on one of the interviews I was talking about. You said it's banned on YouTube. Is it some sort of hypnotism or something like that? Or not YouTube?
It's not banned on YouTube. Yeah, it's banned on like Pornhub and adult sites. Is like the word like hypnosis or like brainwashing, like any of that. Those words are banned.
And why is that banned?
Mostly like Visa, MasterCard stuff. Like, it's like a credit card liability if someone can say that they were like brainwashed to do something, I guess. I don't know. They have a lot of words that are banned that I think are really dumb, but
I know there was like a run there where they was taking a lot of words that were, you know, could mean anything. Like sometimes even words like relationship, like mother, father,
Yeah,
stepson, they were taking a lot of that shit out.
all of that off. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you get into this? Like, I mean, I've talked to a number of adult film stars, you know, over the years since I've done the podcast, and they all have different, you know, ways they got into the business. Well, the majority of them, you know, start out stripping and then it kind of advances and it's obviously a lot more money into adult films. But how do you get into this dominatrix role?
Um, I was working as a makeup artist. I live in LA now, but I used to live in New York, and
Okay.
I was working as a makeup artist for a bunch of companies that worked with a lot of people in the adult industry. And so I was doing makeup at all these shoots and like interacting with a lot of like um, adult stars and providers and dominatrixes and stuff. So I um met my first pro doms that way and like kind of was introduced to that side of the industry through that. And then I found the findom community myself on Twitter in like 2016, just kind of by accident. And I actually had someone who was basically a sub in my life at that point, someone that I actually went to high school with, and showed it to him. He didn't seem super interested at first, but after a couple of years, he started asking me if I would like humiliate him. Like started asking me for videos of myself laughing at him, and kind of escalated from there. And then he told me that he was really active in the community and was like on Twitter and told me I should join. And it took me a little while. Like I said, I found it in 2016. I didn't start till 2019. So I knew about it for a while, and yeah, decided to do it, like take it seriously in 2019. And I've just met a lot of other doms over the years too, like through work and also through makeup stuff.
So when you kind of kick those words around like pro dom, femdom, kind of break that down to the audience that maybe don't know exactly what that is and what those stand for.
Yeah, so femdom just means female domination, so that's kind of like all encompassing. And
Mhm.
findom is like a niche under that, and like a bunch of other, there's tons of niches under femdom.
Right.
I would say like I am a dominatrix, but I'm like primarily online. Like I said, like I don't work in a dungeon, um, and I don't do very many in-person sessions. So I would consider like a pro dom, like someone who's seeing customer or seeing clients in person more, and working out of a dungeon maybe,
Right.
and is doing lots of like impact play and um, like just like the classic dominatrix thing that people picture.
Mhm.
Um, and then I am like primarily online. I wouldn't say I'm just a content creator because I do so much interaction and sessions and stuff with my subs, and um, but I wouldn't call myself like a pro dom.
Okay. Um, what did you like better, New York or LA?
Definitely LA.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I love New York. I love the people in New York. Like I definitely love East Coast people, but I just like that LA is more like everyone's like comfort and like health focused and like relaxing. Like it's much more chill here than New York. There's nothing chill about New York.
I can see that. I love New York. I recently went to LA for the first time this year back in March. Like, and I've told this story, so I won't repeat it and bore people, but it just wasn't what I was expecting, at least as far as the party scene. But as far as what you're saying, like chill, health conscious stuff like that, I can't see where that would be. You know, New York is just like wide open all the time, no matter the time. You can
Yeah,
walk into your hotel at 5 in the morning and there's probably a bar open somewhere. There's food to get on the street. I mean, there's no time. That city, I mean, just like the moniker says, city that never sleeps.
yeah, yeah. And there's just like kind of a more like stressful air about the city, like there's
Yeah.
always like you're kind of in a rush or like
Yeah. It seems like it's weird because like I live in South Carolina and the Charleston area, and there's a lot of people here, and it's slower because there's so many people like standing and looking and they won't get out of your way. And it really pisses me off. But when I go to New York, it's probably more people, but everybody's like, boom, boom.
COVID.
They're going where the fuck they need to go. They don't give a shit about you. They're not looking. I mean, you
Mhm.
got some people that are looking that are tourists, but the masses like know where they're going. They got something they got to do. They don't really give a fuck what you're doing. You could be butt ass naked and they're going to walk right by you. Like they
Yeah.
don't care. It's not a big deal to them at all. And so that's why I go there a lot for the podcast. And I love that city, to be honest. I don't
Yeah.
know if I would ever live there, but I do love the city.
Yeah, I love New York. It's a special place.
What part were you in?
I lived in like Midtown for a couple years. I lived in Spanish Harlem for a few years, and then I lived like over in Greenpoint for a couple years, which is like right over the bridge in Queens.
What ethnicity are you?
I'm Chilean.
Okay, all right. Now, were you doing these types of things while you're in New York?
Yeah, I started when I was living there, and I just moved to LA like a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So when you kind of really cut your teeth in the New York area, what kind of things were you doing when you first started in the New York area? Because like there's all sorts of stuff. Like one of my buddies showed me this. It was like a speakeasy, but you went in, you had to get to it through a sex shop. So you went into the sex shop, you said like a phrase to the lady, and then she opened the door, and then it went down into a speakeasy that served like frozen drinks and stuff like that. But there's all sorts of like hidden bars and stuff like that in New York. Was these things that are like you kind of had to know somewhere to go or know a contact to get involved, or what was that like?
There's a few like sexy clubs in the city. Like the Box is like they have like performances and stuff, like adult performances all the time.
I've heard of that.
And then there's like more like ones that you have to know the name of or like are more hidden. And then there's also like a huge like BDSM scene, just like different groups. So they do like private parties and stuff. But yeah, when I first started, I was doing a lot of like foot worship stuff, like foot worship sessions and like shoe worship and stuff like that was how I started.
Now, was this with you doing other people's feet or your own for their pleasure?
Them worshiping my feet.
Okay. I've never been a feet guy. I know, but I know that's a thing. Like they had a whole, like I remember when the adult friend finder thing was a popular thing. They had foot finder.
Yeah, and that
sell feet pics.
Yeah, that's like one of the most common fetishes, actually. I think.
Really, what is like the weirdest thing you've ever had somebody request you to do?
The weirdest thing someone has asked me to do, probably like was a custom clip request, and they asked me if I would crush hissing cockroaches with my bare feet.
I've heard of a variation of that. I knew a girl that said the guy would request her to crush bugs between her tits.
Ew.
Yeah. It was actually an in-person meet, and it was like she had a little circuit or travel, tour that she would do. And this guy would have her come to the hotel room. They would not touch. He would give her, I think, like $500. It was some crazy amount of money. And he had like the bug or grasshopper or whatever it was in a glass jar on a table. And she was to take it out, put it between her boobs, squash it, like rub it back and forth while he done what he did in the chair. And then that was it. They never touched, they never kissed, they never did nothing. And she got $500.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I've heard a couple other girls say that they've had the hissing cockroach one too. Like there definitely is a fetish for like bug crushing.
Bugs don't, I guess, the right amount of money. What does one get paid to squash bugs with their feet? Can you talk about that?
I definitely charge a lot more than the average person does because I like specifically do financial domination.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I definitely can charge a lot more to my.
And because you're doing that though, that's adding a little something extra.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I'll charge people, like I mail people like my trash. Like I'll like grab a bag of my bathroom trash and just like send my trash and like, or like my Q-tips with like earwax on them and like charge them like $200 for a Q-tip. And that's like part of the humiliation is that they're paying $200 for a Q-tip with earwax on it.
How does one get to the point to where that is what does it for them?
A lot of years and a lot of porn and going down a lot of rabbit holes.
So do you think one gets past porn to get to where they're at now? What they need you for, your services? Do you think just the regular old putting the porn on, breaking out the lotion, just not getting the job done? You have to go further.
Yeah.
So it's very much like it has parallels to drug addiction in a way, and it is an addiction. I mean, I think sex addiction or porn addiction is an addiction, but it has a lot of parallels because you start out with a gateway drug that just might be porn, and then that leads to something a little bit different. Then it goes further than that. Then you have, like, to the extreme of some people into erotic asphyxiation and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I mean, it just goes until you have to search these other avenues to get some sort of satisfaction.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I should feel left behind or right where I'm supposed to be, because at 40s, regular old porn still does it for me. Uh, I don't know. It's fascinating though that this is what does it for people. And I never knock what does it for people, because everybody has their own niche and their own thing. And obviously you're, someone that supplies that. Do you have, is it just business? Do you have anybody that you've developed any kind of relationship with, even just as a friend, like outside of what you're doing, that you talk to on a non-business level?
Like other DOMs or subs, you mean?
Either one.
Yeah, I have like a lot of DOMs, like DOMs that are my best friends now. Like my best friends in LA are all DOMs. I've met a ton of people through the industry, and I've had some subs too that I've gotten close with over the years.
Okay. Is it primarily women that are doms, or are there men too?
Yeah, I mean there are some men, but I'm not. That's not femdom.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay.
And like if there are male DOMs, like they're mostly catering to men because like women generally aren't like there are some female financial subs, but
Right.
it's not very common.
Okay. Um, this is all just really, really fascinating. Do you have an OnlyFans?
I have an OnlyFans, but I prefer Loyal Fans.
What's the difference?
Loyal Fans is like it's another subscription platform. I prefer it because it has like an explore page, so you can actually like find other people. That's like the worst part about OnlyFans is that there's no explore page.
Uh,
And a lot more people find me on there because you can like I live stream there pretty often, and when you live stream, you can go live for like the whole site. So even people that aren't subscribed to you can see you and find you that way. And it also has a built-in like clip store. So I also sell all my clips individually on there. So
I think that's like such a benefit to girls in the industry to be able to kind of create, sell, and control their content and what they make from their content, as opposed to women that were in the industry years ago and they got paid a flat fee and then they never got any royalties after that.
yeah, yeah, that's definitely good. And people make a lot more money now in the adult industry because of like the subscription platforms.
Do you think COVID helped the adult industry as opposed to hurting it? Because I knew a lot of people that were like in clubs and they were dancers that killed them because the clubs closed and they didn't have anything else to do to make money. But then OnlyFans just kind of come out of nowhere. I wish I'd have fucking thought of that. And
Mhm.
it gave all of those girls, like, and a lot of these people had followings on social media. So
Yeah.
it gave them that outlet to go to OnlyFans, make an account, still do something to make money. They're still getting almost the same thing they were getting before, but not quite the in-person action, but they were almost getting the same thing before. And to many girls, like once everything got back open, they were just like, fuck it, I can make this kind of money from my house. I'll do
Mhm.
this. Suppose I go back and having to stay up all night long.
Yeah. My business started to really take off during COVID. Like, I think it depends on what part of the industry you're in, because I think for like porn and for strippers, obviously,
Mhm.
and for like pro doms who did in-person dungeon stuff, it was really hard. But for yeah, like OnlyFans girls, for cam girls, for online doms and stuff, it was amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, the money that was being made was astronomical. Um, what do you how does one get into this if they have a desire to do it? Like there's not exactly like a class you take or a course you take to this. To people that may have an interest in either being a sub or being a dom, how do they go about trying to find an outlet or an avenue into the industry?
Um, for DOMs, if you're interested in being a DOM, I would say definitely watch, like look into the industry, obviously, like look
Mhm.
into people on Twitter, like maybe watch some videos. There's free ones on Pornhub too, or like buy clips from people that you really like. And I always tell people the main thing to think about though before joining the adult industry is like really think about it and the impact that it could have on future family, any job thing. Because I think people, especially with like the FinDom stuff, will get into it thinking it's not really sex work because you're not like having sex on camera.
Right.
Um, but it still is, and it can
It's,
still affect thing. So just, I just think I just always tell people to really think about that before they decide to join the industry. Like I love it. I'm so happy I did it, but I also didn't have like a job to lose or family that's not going to talk to me or a husband that would be upset or whatever.
yeah.
Um
How does that go with like regular relationships? Do you find it like it's so a lot of the times, especially with girls that's in the industry, like at first it's a huge turn on. But then once they actually realize that they do that for work and they have to be gone all day and then they come home and sometimes they're tired and they want to go to bed, then it becomes a problem. So it's like it's cool at first, but then it's like, and not so much. I know you're not necessarily doing that type of stuff, but like do you find that it helps or hurts relationships?
yeah, I mean, I think it definitely limits like dating for
Mhm.
me. I mean, I'm in a relationship right now, so like I it's definitely not hard to find people who are okay with it,
Right.
but there are definitely a lot of people who are really judgmental about it or just like would be too jealous or insecure or whatever. Um so yeah, but at the same time, like I wouldn't probably want to date someone like that anyway, so
Right. Now,
I don't think it's like bad people that's narrowing for me.
and if you don't want to answer this, this is totally okay. You let me know. But like, I always find it curious, like you're into this so much, but it's on the business side of things. Do you carry that domination into like private relationships or is that more like regular?
It depends. Like I've had relationships that were more like a female-led relationship.
Mhm.
And then I've also had more like vanilla dynamic relationships. So
And
yeah.
but is that, is
It
that,
kind of depends on the other person because like I'm not gonna dom someone who isn't like into that or doesn't want that. Um
does that leave a void for you though if they don't like that? Does that have, or do you get that filled through like what you do?
I definitely, definitely get that filled. Like I'm dominating people all day. So
Right. So, so if you get one that ain't about that life, if we should say, it's not a big deal.
yeah.
You teamed up with Star Factory and Tanya.
Yeah.
What led to that joining of you two?
I was just looking to like, further my career. Wanted to get more into like clip making and like I got nominated for awards this year for Clip Artist of the Year at XBiz and for Favorite Dom at AVN. And
Okay.
I think that's definitely a lot because of Tanya. And
Oh yeah,
yeah,
she's
great.
a champ. Her and I got a buddy named Ivan. Do you know Ivan?
um, I don't know. Does he have a podcast?
No, I don't. Well, he used to, but he's a director and like an amazing photographer. And he's in LA. He's in Burbank. If you've never heard of him, like I'll send you his Instagram. Like, go check out his work as a photographer is like amazing. He takes the girls and he sets them up and like he'll just rent out hotel rooms and he'll
Mhm.
just decorate it up. And it very much has like a vintage 70s, 80s vibe to it. I mean, he uses smoke and signs
I
and
love
dated
that.
furniture and stuff like that. And I mean, I think you would probably, I've never met anybody that's had a bad word to say about him. I've
Mhm.
got a lot of interviews from him, from the girls that he's worked with. He does alt-erotic. So he has a lot of girls that work with him that are heavily tattooed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I see you are heavily tattooed.
Yes.
Do you plan on getting any more?
Probably, yeah. I haven't actually gotten any since I moved to LA. So I have get a break for like 2 years, but probably gonna get some more.
What's the hurtingest tattoo you ever had, place-wise?
I had my knee done. That really was awful. Also, like probably like the sides of my hands. Like this was really, really bad.
The knee, like the kneecap?
Yeah. I have like my full knee.
Yeah, I can see where that would hurt. What about you? You got it on the back?
Yeah, I have my spine done, and one on my upper back. Yeah.
How did that go for you?
That wasn't too bad. I did that a long time ago, though. I honestly don't remember too well.
I have a lot of tattoos and everything, but I just must be a bitch because I just had my whole back done. And like, it wasn't in one sitting. It was like now 4 3-hour sessions, but like it just hurt from start to finish. Like normally, the outlining isn't really that bad when they start shading, depending on how hard the artist digs in, that can be the more uncomfortable part of it. But like, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, but they just hurt now start to finish. Like there's no.
Yeah, I actually was talking about it with someone the other day who was saying that like it's funny that like he was like, I feel like people over time get more sensitive to tattoos. Like the more tattoos you have and the more you get, like the more you're like, I don't want to do that. Like it hurts. That's how I am now too.
No, and I've kind of like pieced together, like my arms got done, the sleeves got done in pieces over time, and we just kind of done stuff that blended them together. But like I've got a huge piece on my back that's like a tiger with its mouth open and a skull in the middle and filigree on the side and crows on the top. I mean, it's a huge piece. But like from every single time we sat down, from the time he started to the time he finished, I'm just like, fuck, it didn't used to hurt as bad.
Yeah.
And they have things now where like you can put over tattoos and they're healed, and like now you couldn't really do it on mine because mine were pretty big, but like if you get like a regular size tattoo, they can put something over it and it's fully healed within like a couple of days.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 days and it's fully healed. Like you don't have to worry about putting all the shit on there. It like uses the stuff from your body to heal the tattoo itself.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you ever had anybody, I guess I'd say, like, you've already talked about like the weirdest thing, but what is like that someone wants consistently that you've ever like, I guess thought that like maybe they were trying to take it too far? Have you ever had anybody that's tried to take anything too far that you've had to just say no to?
Yeah, definitely.
What's some no's?
Like people be like wanting me to encourage them to do like hard drugs and get really fucked up and like do stuff, and yeah.
So is it more of like, because obviously these people could do everything you're telling them to do on their own. Like if someone wanted to do drugs, they could do drugs. If someone wanted to sit in a closet and jerk off for 30 hours, they could do that. They don't need you to tell them to do that. But is it just the fact that someone, I guess you, that looks like you, that's telling them what to do? Is that kind of what drives it for them? Is what's that driving factor?
Yeah, like the control. And like a lot of them too, like are just really big fans. Like they watch my clips a lot, and so they love having like one-on-one interaction.
Yeah. What do you see for yourself going forward? Because I mean, obviously this is rolling quite well for you. Where do you see your next steps, in the industry? Do you have any desires, plans, future goals?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I got nominated for awards this year. Definitely win awards, hopefully next year. I've thought about like maybe opening like a production like studio one day and helping other people make like clips and content. But we'll see.
I think it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're doing this, if you've got a podcast, no matter if you're selling fucking real estate, it doesn't matter. Like, I think social media is the way of the future. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. So you might as well learn it, master it, and learn how to benefit from it because it's not going anywhere. I'm actually seriously considering going back to school to study some sort of like social media marketing or something with podcast or something that can help me with what I'm doing here. Like people
Yeah.
say, why don't you go for your regular job? And I was like, well, I'm kind of good at what I do during the day, but I want to kind of
Yeah.
advance more at this and see, because there's all kind of little nuances that you learn that help, broaden your reach to social media. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's just can be one little word, one little clip. And sometimes it's the things that you don't even think will work that'll be the one that'll kind of shoot you out there farther than you ever thought.
Yeah, exactly. And you can just have one video like really blow up and that's it.
I've had one. I don't know if I would consider it viral. I don't know if viral has a number, but it's definitely had way more interaction than any other video that I had. And about a month or so ago, after all the P. Diddy situation shit come out, I got a hold of a book that's alleged to be the book of Kim Porter, which was his ex-wife.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
she was writing a book before she died. That was well known throughout that industry that she was writing this. And then her house got robbed while she was alive and everything got stolen. Well, then she dies of pneumonia. And there's no way for me to verify this book is really from her.
Uh-huh.
I've had this book since the FBI raided his house. About a week after that, I got in hold of this book. A lot of shit in that book has now started to come out and be true and like be verified by media outlets. So I think there's some truth to it. And one of the ones that was in there was him and Tupac and his wife or her Kim was together and he wanted to have a threesome. And Tupac was like, no, I'm not doing that. Fuck you. And he basically left and that pissed him off. So he sanctioned the first hit where he got shot in the studio, which kind of set that whole East Coast, West Coast war into motion. And that he was into like threesomes and stuff like that. It even says in the book when they first met, like one of the first or second times they were together, like he wanted her to use toys on him to the point to where like he was bad, like it bleeding and everything. Like it's a vivid, very, very detailed book. And I'm really playing in my head what I want to do with it because, I kind of got to be careful with some of the names that's in there. I mean, it names some prominent rappers that are like still active in some very promiscuous situations. And I like part of it has, when I first read that book, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like 50-50. And like 4 things in this book has come true. It even said that Biggie wanted to leave Tupac or Bad Boy Puffy. And like, he didn't necessarily per se, he got him killed, but he was like, I'm pulling protection on Biggie when we go to California. And like, that's been coming out recently that Biggie was wanting to leave Puffy and the whole Bad Boy organization and do his own thing. So it's like all these little nuances are coming true. And it just lets you know that people, regardless of the stature, kind of like what we talked about earlier, regardless of what title they hold, like people are into what they're into. And there's always going to be somebody out there that, will satisfy that for them. You might as well just take that off.
I know. It's like, it's really, really not wanting to see one.
Valentina, where can people go to track you down, follow you on the social medias and all that good stuff? What all social medias do you have and where can they find you?
I don't have an Instagram as of now. I have a Twitter, which is I Need Valentina. My website is ineedvalentina.com. And that has all my links, all my payment. I also have it in my Twitter, my pinned tweet. And my personal website is ineedvalentina.com. And my I Want Clips, which is a femdom clip store, is I Want Clips or iwantvalentinafox.com.
Okay, so everybody go check that out. Do Instagram
is the best fan site. If you're gonna message me,
do you just get banned off Instagram? Is that the reason why I've had a lot of people have issues with Instagram?
Yeah, I've had one deleted and I don't know. I'll probably make another one, but not now.
How many followers did you have it up to?
It was only a few thousand, so it wasn't too
terrible. I know people that's had like millions of followers and they've gotten it lost or gotten it hacked. And I mean, that's a lot of work over the years. Like, obviously, it's going to be, y'all are going to draw a little bit more fans easier than, say, just a regular podcast or a regular Joe, but that's still a lot of work to get 1 million people to follow you on Instagram. Like, that is a feat. And to just have that lost because of their dumbass algorithm can be really, really frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't really wanted to put too much time into that.
If leave us on a good note. Tell us a very, very funny story in this whole career industry that you have. Leave us on a funny note.
I don't know.
Okay, well, it don't have to be funny. It can be what's the hottest thing that you've ever done that somebody's requested that you found hot? Not that just they found it hot, but that you found hot also doing it for them.
I like the financial domination stuff. That's what I found hot. Transferring me 10K or while rubbing my feet.
Yeah, I would like that. I think, you know, if they ever need somebody to work with you, if you need a partner or something, I'm into that kind of thing. Money, that do it for me. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I've had a good time. Folks, go check her out on the Twitter. We'll put a link to it in the show notes of our show here on YouTube. Go check her out. Give her a like, follow. Clips fans, loyal fans, follow her on there. She says that's the best way to get in touch with her. Valentina, thank you very much for stopping by the show.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Hollywood Wade. That was Valentina Fox. We'll see you next week here on Crime and Entertainment. See ya.